Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Travel Coffee Break. I'm Alistair Mackenzie, and I'm flying solo this week. Let me get rid of that thing as soon as I can. There we go. It's just me. It's been an odd few weeks, actually, with a whole pile of different projects and things going on, and the net result is that I've actually rather let forward planning on guests and topics for the Travel Coffee Break lapse a little. So this is the second open mic edition I've had in a few weeks, and for that I apologize. And last week it was a bit odd anyway, because we did a live pop-up hangout on the Tuesday instead of doing the Wednesday show. So I will try and get this all back to normal. I do have a couple of ideas for things I want to talk about in future weeks, and one of them, I think, for next week will be I'm going to see if I can get some people involved with the current Headwater Holidays campaign. The hashtag is 30 active days, all one word, and it's to mark 30 years of Headwaters active holidays, walking, cycling, that kind of thing, but also to highlight the fact that it's actually quite a gentle process. And to that end, they've got teamed up with Captivate Digital Media, which is a blogger collective, and at this point I have to declare a resounding interest, because I'm a member of the Captivate Digital Media team, but it won't be me on the away team. There are 5 of us who will be going around Europe, Italy, Austria, France, I think, are the 3 countries, cycling and walking, and sort of doing it rather like a relay. So one will hand on to the next. And it's starting off with, I think it's Becky Enright's doing the first one this week, and then I think it's probably Abigail after that, and Michael Turtle after that. I will next week. I'm rather hoping that what I might be able to do is actually gather together Becky at the end of hers, as it were, her week, and see how it's gone and what she's been up to, with maybe somebody from Headwater as well, to talk about all the stuff that they do, and maybe some more things along those lines. We did do, interestingly, a few weeks ago, I did an edition which was about walking holidays, and we had a whole bunch of specialist tour operators, including Headwater. So we're sort of revisiting that particular topic, hopefully, as I say, next week, and I'll see if I can sort out the detail for it. So the idea for today was simply to do what I used to do in the old days with these, when I just had open mic sessions, literally open the hangout and blather for a little while, and see if anybody showed up, and if they don't, then all well and good, and we move on to next week. So to that end, I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to get our regular Malcolm Ginsberg in. He's actually out at the moment in Italy, I think he said, at an aviation event. So unless he can get to us on his iPhone, I don't think that's going to happen. He would no doubt have been talking about the endless saga of airport expansion, but you know, that's not really. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. There goes my phone appropriately. But I did want to raise a couple of things that I've actually seen just recently. I wouldn't normally go here, trust me. This is he said this. Let me put it on the screen share, and you can actually see what it is I'm blathering on about. Where are we? There we go. And I think it's that one. Yep, there we are. Okay, you may be able to see that, hopefully. You probably won't be able to read it. The scale won't be big enough. Now, this is Conservative Home. Now, this is not a blog that I would normally go to. But I saw somebody referring to this recently, and it's a really interesting piece, take on the airport expansion thing. This is Adrian Pepper, former special advisor and parliamentary candidate who stood for the Conservatives in the southeast region in last year's European elections, and he's been talking about the political machinations that are going on behind the scenes, particularly with, on the one hand, in the Conservative Party, David Cameron said to be warming to Gatwick, and George Osborne reported to favour Heathrow as an option. But it's where he comes down to his own experience down there. He says, over the past 2 years, I've had the chance to canvass residents' opinions in numerous constituencies near both Heathrow and Gatwick airports. When you talk to people about local issues, it's remarkable how few people spontaneously mention aviation expansion, even as an issue of concern to them. It doesn't register on a scale of their political priorities, which is topped by the economy, immigration, and the NHS. If you do raise the issue with residents, you discover that the vast majority of people actually support aviation expansion in principle. So he says that in Heathrow, for example, there are many residents who quietly support the expansion of Heathrow in some of the West London constituencies. You might not believe this by listening to their elected representatives, because there's now a very well-organised protest movement against the Heathrow expansion. But there's no grassroots movement in favour of expansion, just a silent majority who recognise that a big global city like London needs a big hub airport. And what he does say is, in some constituencies near Heathrow, such as Spelthorne, the jobs argument outweighs any concerns about noise or air quality. And likewise, he's talking about Gatwick. Again, there's actually quite a lot of sort of silent support, but the opposition there is probably more vigorous, not least because when you factor in the amount of work that it would create, the area doesn't really have the residential areas to support that. And so a lot of the concern is not so much about the actual extra airport at Gatwick itself, but where there is opposition amongst local voters, it's more concerned about the overall expansion of of housing and new roads and all the rest of it. So it's quite an interesting take, and it's worth reading if you're interested in what's going on with this whole business of the Airports Commission report that we're expecting to see any time now, and have been for ages and ages. Then it's worth having a read. You can find it on Conservative Home. Something else that I was going to mention today is there's, as we speak, there is the ABTA conference going on. I forget what the conference title is for this ABTA one. It's in London. It's not the big one, I don't think. It's the ordinary, one of the little get-togethers. It's happening in London, as I say. There's a hashtag, travel matters, all one word. But there were a couple of statistics that came out this morning that absolutely stopped me in my tracks when I saw them on Twitter. ABTA's Mark Tanzer is CEO of ABTA. ABTA, by the way, if you don't know it, is the Association of British Travel Agents. And he unveiled research into outbound tourism. Outbound tourism, that's the important point here. And saying that it contributes 2.4 billion annually into the HM Treasury. That's in tax. So the overall economic contribution in the UK totals £28.3 billion. And this is, again, this is outbound. So we're talking about not just travel agents, which is what they're interested in, tour operators and the like, but also all the other stuff that goes on, ferry companies and airlines and stuff like that, and airports to an extent. But you'd have to, I'm not sure how they did the stats, but you couldn't account all of airport income for jobs and all the rest of it for the purposes of covering outbound. But anyway, the outbound travel, outbound travel's economic contribution in the UK totals 28.3 billion, representing 1.8% of the UK's GDP. I mean, that's practically the defence budget, as the rest of NATO would like us to be spending it. I mean, that's an extraordinary figure. And when you consider that we don't have any serious kind of representation at ministerial level, I mean, tourism is one of the undersecretary's jobs in the Ministry of Sports and Culture. I mean, it is just crazy, absolutely crazy, when you consider the amount of revenue that the travel and tourism industry generates in the UK. Not just inbound, not just stuff that Visit Britain's interested in, the overseas earnings that come to the UK with overseas visitors, but the outbound as well. Huge figures, and it's crazy that we don't have better representation at government level. So I'm just switching. Oh, you can't see me, of course. I had that wretched screen up the whole time. Sorry about that. There we go. So yeah, I'm really amazed at those figures, and I think we need to shout more about the travel industry. But for now, and for here, where are we? We are 14 minutes in. No sign of anybody. There was some talk. Find the right page. Richard Wright said he might turn up. If that's you. If you're watching out there, Richard, then it's now or never. Oh, you have a question about Michael and Becky. Okay, what would that be? Who are Michael and Becky? You're going to have to ask it real quick, Richard, because I don't really have much more that I was going to talk about to fill up the space. I suppose, could mention the whole business of the Paris. We had the Paris air show last week, which is where a lot of the airlines do their business. I did see a rather interesting little article in, where was it? One, Wales Online. Wales' interest in, and this is about Airbus. It's Airbus wins orders for more than 400 aircraft in deals worth 37 billion at the Paris air show. Wales' interest is because a lot of the wings for Airbus aircraft are manufactured in Wales, so it means that it does secure jobs for Welsh workers, but it was really interesting and quite satisfying that Airbus seemed to be doing really well with, in particular, their new A321 Neo aircraft. It seems to be flavour of the month at the moment for regional airlines and the like, and they're selling an awful lot of those. So yeah, that's good news for Airbus, and we're really pleased to see it. I also saw, and I can't find it quickly, a little article about Boeing. You may or may not be aware that at the Paris Air Show last week, Boeing were showing off their 787 Dreamliner, spectacular aircraft, and we're showing it off in a spectacular way. There's a video of it. You go and have a look if you can Google it, or rather YouTube it. Do a search on YouTube and you'll find it. It's the airliner taking off and just going vertical. I mean, literally as it gets in, Robbie, it just goes woof up like that, and to the point where it's about to hang up and fall out of the sky, and then they drop the nose and fly off. It's very dramatic, very much worthwhile looking at, and it was sort of one of the highlights of the air show this year. But I saw a little article somewhere that said it hadn't actually done very much for sales, which I suppose to some extent is not entirely unexpected. I mean, it's not the kind of aircraft behaviour you want to see when you've got it full of passengers. So, okay, no joiners. Let's just have a quick check back and see if Richard has updated that. No. So I think what I'm going to do is call it a day here, and then we'll pick up again next week. And like I say, next week I'm hoping that I'll be able to do some stuff about the Captivate and Headwater 30 active days campaign, about walking and cycling and the like, and I've still got plans for an edition where we're going to focus on museums, and I need to get that one organised as well, so I will do that. Until then, bye for now.